Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today I thought, why don't I do something a little bit different now that the Blight League's sort of starting to get a bit stale for a lot of people. A lot of people feel they've finished their build, they've worked out what they want to do. So I thought I'll take one of the less popular maps in the game, and when I say less popular, I mean probably the absolute least commonly opened map in the game. Vaal Temple is a map that you will get approximately 1 in 16 times when you corrupt a tier 15 map. So instead of being turned up into a Shaper Guardian map, like say for instance a Maze of the Minotaur, a Pit of the Chimera, Lair of the Hydra, or a Forge of the Phoenix, instead your map will corrupt up into a Vaal Temple. Vaal Temple will roll with completely random and unchangeable mods. Now Vaal Temple does not have very many monsters in it, and also because it's always corrupted, you can't re-roll your 4 mod maps to try and get a higher amount of pack size. So if I have a quick look through here, you'll see this is a pretty damn low pack size roll, 20%, and there'll be lower in here, there's an 18%, and so on and so forth. So Vaal Temple doesn't drop very many items. What it makes up for that with, though, is having some of the best divination cards in the game. There is the divination card that gives the Mortal Hope fragment, which was the rarest part of the Atziri fragment set. That drops frequently. The most I've ever had in a single run was 6, and that was only using a bottom tier Divination Scarabs, so a rusted one. I'm going to be running these maps using polished Divination Scarabs, which I think give the right balance of cost versus payoff here. So that's one of the divination cards that drops. The other one that I've found there, and I've had this myself, but I'm don't absolutely confident yet that it drops from Vaal Temple. It might have dropped because it was an Abyss. So I'm not certain yet, but it did drop from the Abyssal Trove that was in one of the maps that I ran earlier. This is a 1.5 to 2 Exalt Divination card depending on the time of the league. It's one that was added in 3.8, and I have personally had it drop from an Abyssal Trove inside a Vaal Temple map. So, going to find out if it's as rare as I sort of expect it to be. Soul Ripper being one of the Incursion upgraded flasks. It's the Vaal Soul Abuse flask, it's very rare, but we'll see if it drops. And of course, the other really, really hot property item that drops in here is the Divination card for the Prophecy that is then used to upgrade the Atziri's Mirror shield into Atziri's Reflection, which is one of the rarest unique items in the game. So, my plans for running these Vaal Temples. I'm going to be running them 3 at a time, so let's just grab 3 of them out now. I may change these depending on what the Sextants roll. And I'm going to Sextant them with a goal of trying to get reasonably good Sextant rolls. I'm not going to just discard everything.
The mediocre turned remarkable.
Unique bosses are accompanied by a mysterious Harbinger, and Harbingers drop additional currency shards. I was already planning to use Zana's Harbinger mod, so I'm definitely going to keep this. The final fight is going to be utter pandemonium with that. I'm not going to be using any of the Harbinger Scarabs because those are quite expensive, and I don't know if this gets it over the line. Harbinger's dropping additional currency shards. I'm not sure, and it might be something that's best to save for a situation where you're using your Harbinger Scarabs, the gilded ones in particular, which are very expensive. It might be best to save them for a situation where you're running a map that is an 8 mod map. Vaal Temple can't roll as an 8 mod map.
The mediocre turned
Okay, area contains additional poisonous monsters. That's a Sextant we want.
The mediocre turned
Area contains additional monsters again. That's you'll see a pattern here.
The mediocre turned remarkable.
Oh, the first 10 possessed monsters have a 25% chance to drop an additional map, plus Tormented Heretic. I don't know if that's any good or not. I'm not going to be stacking possessed monsters in this zone though. I think this is something that would be a good Sextant. So 2.5 additional maps. Nah, it is not worth using the various Sextant and possessed foe prophecy synergies that exist here, because 2.5 tier 16 maps, even if they were always tier 16s, it's not enough value. So for that reason, all this is giving me really is just an additional Torment Spirit, so I'm going to roll over this. Wow, Nemesis Monsters drop 3 additional currency items. That's a super rare, super valuable. That may actually cause me to rethink my plans, because that is a very, very lucrative mod that you get.
The mediocre turn.
And I got players that are immune to reflect as well, and that's also got mirrored rare monsters. Okay, so this has been an interesting sextant experiment. Notice that Master Cartographer Sextants do get better results when you're using them on red maps. They're really underrated at the moment. It's sort of only 3 chaos at the moment in the current League economy. This actually may change my plans. I'm going to run one map. I'm going to see if I have any Nemesis Plus Beyond ones here. Now, do we seriously have none that have even Nemesis on them? That doesn't sound right. There's a Beyond. Okay, no, that's better. That's what I thought. Okay, so we don't own any that have both Nemesis and Beyond. That was what I expected. Now, the best way that I can get Beyond monsters to spawn in this environment is going to be running these maps that already have Nemesis on them. And it'll be to run maps that already have Beyond, which I only have one of, and it will be to use Zana's Nemesis mod, which I think is going to be worth doing. I will also use instead of using just I was using Rusted Parandus Scarabs just to throw additional monsters onto the map. I will splash out and use a Harbinger Scarab instead. So I'm going to grab 3 of those. I think at this point, this is where I'm going to start with my first map. So we've got Beyond from this, then we're going to add Nemesis to it from the map device. That is replacing my original plans to use Harbinger from the map device. And that's to get maximum value out of the Nemesis Monsters Drop additional currency. We also have that in conjunction with mirrored rare monsters. I also need to think if any of the master missions are particularly worth using now that we've had somewhat of a change. I'm kind of thinking Elva might be the way to go at this point. Elva will have more rare monsters in her subzones, all of which will inherit the benefits of the rest of the map. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Elva, and just quickly thinking to make damn certain that's right, it is.
Greetings.
I mean, I would get some value out of having a bunch of extra rares from Einhar as well. So, Harbinger Scarab, Breach Scarab, and Divination Scarab, all of which will play to the strengths of the map and the Sextants. And then we are adding Nemesis from Zana because we don't have Nemesis on the map itself. Another quick check of the mods, and everything's fine. And of course, it always throws me, it starts over here. So I'm going to have 3 incursions in this zone. This map is difficult. Vault, and you can see just how many silly mods there are there. Vaal Temple is a difficult map. And I'm playing a build that is not a total glass cannon, but is close to one.
A criminal of Theopolis flees into the grave, carrying a fortune teller's tool.
What's fine?
So here's a Harbinger, which should hopefully have a bunch of rare monsters. Yeah, there's a Nemesis monster, and you can see just how many currency items are dropping at the moment. We'll also get a bit of a sense as to just how many currency shards drop from those Harbingers. So keep in mind that... Oh, got a... Did you actually get it set off? So we haven't had any good currency yet, but that's the thing with this mod. When you do get the Nemesis mods drop additional currency items, it drops a lot of stuff, some of which will be good and most of which will be small. Did I actually kill a Harbinger there? Yeah, I did. Okay, so I'm just overruling my loot filter for a sec to see all of the little trash loot as well, just to make sure that I did get paid for the for killing off that Harbinger. again, you're hearing currency items dropping everywhere because of that Nemesis mod. I think in future, I may be less concerned about the Beyond setup. Though Beyond will be really good for Cassia's event here. Cassia's Blight event should actually be scale really well with all of the mods on this map. Oh, that's that stupid. Why is that on my loot filter? Because Deed Bell exists, that's why. Or Deed Bellow. So I'm going to do the Aqua Pump event. It's a 5-way, so 5-way with no bosses. I'm just going to start it straight away. I'm using minions as speed bumps. They're just there to slow the enemies down a little, in case I get distracted and can't focus on both sides at once. But if I upgrade them to top tier, they'll do some serious damage. Oh, there they are. Actually, a really disappointing light so far. I think they're being underrated by players currently. A lot of people say don't bother with them, but in my experience they've been really quite good. However, there is still a bit of loot left from it. I just got sidetracked killing stuff because killing stuff is fun. I don't know if the Divination Scarab I'm running will amp up that Blight Sack or not. Does not appear to have. Alright, now let's find Elva. Notice that these maps take quite some time. A bit of that is the fact that I'm doing commentary, but it is also the case that the more events that you've got on a map... Look, what's hitting me? Stop that.
History repeats itself.
So,
Every incursion
it would make sense to change the guardhouse, but because my divination card drops from the Splendor Research Lab tier 3, I'm just going to go for that. All of the different openings are equivalent to each other, so I'm just going to +1.
Let's go.
+1 this, and then open as many as I can. Which will be 2. And we'll kill everything in here because that amps up Elva's loot explosion, which is then amplified by all the scarabs that we're using. So it could actually be quite good. And we get the hell out of that because that would be messy. So there's our first payoff from using the that silly thing. Oh, that's a Nemesis unique, I think. No, it's Call of the Brotherhood. Oh, nice. That's often a chase item. I'm not sure about this league economy, but it certainly has potential. This is a very hard map to navigate. It's a really ugly layout. And so you'll often get lost in here. That does slow you down, but hey, I said I wanted to do something a little bit different, and that's what I'm doing. Tezatosh is somewhere around here, and I don't know where. There he is. So lots more small currency. So we've only had a divine so far in the big ones. We'll see if that changes from here onwards. The reason for Beyond, in case you're wondering, why I thought Beyond would be really good, is that Beyond rare monsters are all gain Nemesis mods. Alright, at this point, let's aggro this breach. So this, I believe, was a Scarab source breach. There's a Last Hope Divination card. So that's only a couple of Chaos now, but 1/3 of Immortal Hope used to be really worth something. I think it's just that Vaal Temple has caught on a bit, especially since Divination Scarabs came out. Ouch, that thing hit hard. Something's coming. Couple of ancient shards. They're alright at the moment. They're a few chaos each. Thanks to the league economy. aka thanks to Headhunter being Ancient Orbital this league. It's another Divine Orb. Won't say no to that. Actually rarer than Exalts, but nowhere near the demand for them. But still, it's paying for everything that you invest into the map. And again, that's just from getting more currency orbs because of that Nemesis Monsters dropping additional currency mod that is so insanely good. Okay, Torment Cells. I don't care about this. I don't care about either of these, so I'll upgrade it because the Torment Cells are funny. They're terrible. They're not worth doing, but they're fun. So when they do their charge up tantrum attacks, I tend to like to run away from the Architects, mainly because I don't know what all of their charge ups do. So better to play it safe in my opinion. There's a Corrupting Blood monster there, but I'm immune to it because I've got a jewel for that. I'm using 2 copies of the Fireball jewel, Rolling Flames, and as a result, that's such a common jewel that you can easily affordably get one of them that has immunity to Corrupting Blood. And here again we have a large loot explosion. This time nothing of value. I'm not sure. Actually, I should probably be a little bit tighter on my loot filter for those things.
I suppose you...
And there you see the rest of the explosion. Now, I'm going to make sure that I set up a portal close to the boss fight. This boss fight is very easy to die in.
There you are.
Chasm, Storage Room is okay, Trap Workshop is dumpster tier, so I'm going to take the Storage Room and I'm going to connect it to either, basically to Matatul or to Juanolti. So that's the narrow ends. These open rooms are really dangerous when you first zone into them. especially if you're not a tanky build. Like I am not a tanky build.
Low on mana.
Alright, that's everything dead. I did use my, yeah, I did use the thing. And here we'll get another loot explosion. No, that's no good. There is an unset ring that is good. But that's Malakai's Artifice. Which is, I guess, something to pick up to feed to the Lawweave Lottery. Alright, now at this point I'm going to do the boss. I'm not actually up to the boss in the sense there is still more left in the zone. But I'll go and do the boss the way that you do it on a squishy character. And this is one of the very most dangerous bosses in the game. So I'm just going to quickly review the mods just to make certain that I'm not forgetting anything. Monster Skills Chain. I don't have anything currently set up to avoid that, so get rid of the golem. Otherwise it will get me killed. Boss has a Harbinger. Okay. Oh, this is going to be fun. So, boss has a Harbinger, and yeah, this is going to be crazy. So the key in here is don't stop moving, don't stop moving, don't stop moving. And if you have enough control, then kill one of them first. The one that enrages the most scarily, which is the one that looks like I think a tentacled miscreation is their name. They have a less family-friendly name as well. So, in we go. Run through. Don't stop moving. Not even sure if the boss is still alive at this point. Yes, it is. Cyclona. Okay, that tells me that the map is done. If the last one to be killed was the Tentacled Miscreation, there will be a physical area of effect damage spell that will be continuing to blast down for some time. Do not ignore that. That will kill you if you ignore it.
I need more pockets.
Oh, they're not total dumpster tier this league. It's interesting that the alchemy orb is. I've actually filled up my inventory with alchemy orbs, and yeah, that's crazy. Just ID this. You're easily fixed. And what's the? Got something that I can trivially. Oh, done. I actually want to use some of them, so let's just use them now. That's just me being lazy, not wanting to port out in the middle of the boss fight. Don't set up a portal inside the boss room on that fight. If you're in softcore and you die in there, which you will do a lot when you're learning it, then just come back in and start from outside and go and kill some more monsters. You'll notice I deliberately didn't initiate that fight after getting down to 0 monsters remain. The reason for that is that I wanted to be in a situation where if I failed it, I could go back in with Vaal Fireball charged again. And you may not be using Vaal Fireball, but you probably are using some Vaal skill. If you're not, you should be, because Vaal skills are good. That's not the way to get through to that. Let's just say this is a maze. There's a really bad layout. Hopefully that gives a bit of a sense as to just how shitty a layout it is. I have to come back around here and then find... The only way in there is through there. And the only way to get back there is to go all the way over here. This is winning no awards this map for layout. But what it is winning awards for is having some of the best divination cards in the game. The Catalyst is not one of the best divination cards in the game, because it would be so annoying to die here. Oh, that's shut as well. I've gone the wrong way again. Here it is. Oh wow, that's terrible. And there's still more than 50 monsters remaining, so there's a lot of juice in here, plus a breach. Now at this point, we'll set off the breach. This is going to be a bad breach, there's just not much room for it. And it's only Esh. The Wretched, that's another divination card that's worth something. Again, it's a Headhunter lottery piece. Unfortunately, I can't get around to there, so this is going to be a total brick. And Esh in person. Just let that. That was me not being prepared for that. Okay, at this point, we're going to dump everything into a stash tab that we've set aside for this point, except for the Scarabs, because I'm going to be using them soon. But all of this comes from in here. And we'll head back in. We'll just collect the last of the loot. So that is what moderately high investment Vaal Temples look like. I'm intending to do a bunch of these over the next couple of days. Probably do them a bit faster than this because I did get thrown by hitting that super precious Nemesis Monsters Sextant, which is not something that you'll ever count on getting. It is one of the rarest. There is also another little section down here that I've forgotten to explore, so let's just go do that quickly as well. I have a feeling that... Is there a Harbinger left? Was I using a polished Scarab? I thought there should be 4 in here, not 3.
Low on mana.
But then again, I may have killed 4 and forgotten one of them. Okay, so I've killed absolutely everything in the zone at this point, and that is going to be the end of the run. There's something that I've dropped down. No, that isn't any good. Alrighty, so we've taken a long time to do that map, but again, that's because we're just, giving full commentary, taking it a bit slow, and messing around a bit, explaining a whole lot of things. In terms of loot returns so far, we have the 2 Divine Orbs. I think they're about 27 Chaos at the moment, I'll have to check that. We have the Elder Beach, we have the various Harbinger Fragments, and we have the Call of the Brotherhood, which was Lucky Pull. Divination cards, we got nothing premium, but we did pick up a couple of solid ones. So there's the Wretched, and there's a Last Hope, a single Last Hope. I've had a lot more than one Last Hope in a run before. I've had 6. I feel like you get about 2 when you're using when you're scarabing up, and 1 if you're not scarabing up. But that's just from too small a sample size to be sure. Definitely come out ahead on that map, but it's all a numbers game. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there and get back to running a few more of them.